Hello there, this is Bibi Cameron. Welcome to a new video. Today we are going to be making these fun interactive cards. They fall flat to fit in an envelope, and when you take them out of the envelope, they pop up. So these are super easy to make, and I'm going to be using a large die set called Storefront by Scrappy Tales. It includes these two dies here that will create the roof and bridges for your card in case that you want to add them inside the card. The dies are quite big, so there are 2 sheets of dies included in this die set, and the other one has these 2 main dies to die cut the card base, and we are going to need one of those pieces and 2 of these ones here. So the 4 larger pieces you see on my table are the main 4 pieces that you are going to need to create this project. The bridge, you can use it or not. And here you have 20 decorative dies that will cut plant pots, doors, windows, and it also have this piece here that will cut different parts for the roof just in case that you want to add them in different colors. And to make the pop-up mechanism, you can get this small die set here that will cut these 2 pieces that we are going to use today as well. Okay, you will notice that the dies emboss the paper and create some scoring lines. So all we have to do first is to fold over those scoring lines, and I like to use a bond folder to burnish over those lines to make a sharp, crisp, and a nice fold. And for this video, I decided to leave some of the scoring for later on, but of course, that's the very first thing you need to do before adding the pieces to your project. I believe that this will allow me to explain a little bit better the step by step. So the first thing we are going to do is to adhere these 2 pieces together, and for that we are going to be using liquid adhesive. So I'm just going to add liquid adhesive on the tabs, or the smaller tabs that are at the edges of these pieces, and we are going to glue this like so to give shape to this 3-dimensional shape. When we are gluing our pieces, we are going to make sure that everything is aligned and everything falls flat. So the next step is to decorate this, and for today I'm going to use garden stand flowers that includes fences and bench and little flowers for these projects. And I'm also going to use some of the dies included in this die set that is called garden stand animals, and I'm really loving this little dog. It's a very interesting way to die cut the paper. Anyways, this is the moment to adhere to that card base all the decorative elements you might want to add to this project, but I'm going to skip that step to show you quickly how to assemble the card base. So this piece here has scoring lines at both ends that will create a triangular shape on each end. We are going to fold over one of those scoring lines towards the back of the piece, and we are going to fold the other end towards the front of the piece. It really doesn't matter which fold goes towards the front or the back. The important thing is to have one fold towards the front and one towards the back, and burnish over those scoring lines to have crisp edges. The next thing we are going to do is to adhere this to the card base, aligning those triangular pieces with the triangular shape at the top of the base, just like I'm doing here. So you have to make sure that this is perfectly aligned, and I like to use Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to do this because it provides a really strong bond. And because the paper has memory, you need to keep burnishing over those scoring lines, keeping everything flat. Now we are going to adhere the roof to this piece here, and I'm going to add glue over that area as well. And I'm going to align the top folding of this piece here with the top folding of the roof. And I'm trying to center that roof there as well. Then I turn this around and I check that everything is in place, and that's it. And as simple as that, you will get this super cool shaped box that you can fold flat for easy mailing. And later on you can also add a pop-up mechanism so it will pop up when you take it out of the envelope. So tomorrow is Easter and I wanted to make something related to this celebration, but the sky is the limit. You can use this card base to create cards for any occasion. This is easy peasy, and the only tip I'm going to give you here is avoid gluing things that falls over the corners, because that will create bulk. And it doesn't really matter, but it provides you a better finish if the things that you glue over the corners lay flat or have a sharp fold, if that makes any sense. So anyways, I was experimenting and I also decided to use these little lips that were made using dies from the butterfly card creator by Spellbinders. All the supplies are listed in the video description. And as I was crafting, I changed my mind and I was thinking in making a box by adding a piece of cardstock at the bottom, and you can put Easter eggs inside this and that will be absolutely gorgeous. I know a couple of kids that will absolutely adore to get one this Easter. But anyways, I stuck to the plan and I'm going to add the pop-up. And to do that, we are going to need these two pieces here. They have a scoring line across the center of the piece, this one here, and we are going to fold over that scoring line. And there are also scoring lines at the sides to create flaps. So we are going to fold over those scoring lines like so. So you need to create like a couple of legs. You see this? Or depending on how you see this, this will be an M or a W, but it's just simple, you know, like you just fold this piece in half and then fold the flaps towards the top fold of that piece, just like that. So pay attention, because this might sound a little bit confusing, but trust me, it's easy. See that? And we are going to add glue over the flaps like I'm doing there. And I'm adding a generous amount of the glue, and then using a little piece of paper, I'm going to spread the glue over those little flaps. And I'm going to allow this to dry, so when I put this in place, it's going to stick straight away, just like that. And I'm squeezing the paper in that corner, also folding the paper and making sure the paper actually folds in that corner. So now I'm going to adhere this one, and I'm going to use my very dirty glue erasers to keep this up to be able to show you what I'm doing here. And it's a little bit tricky to show you because it's a very intricate corner there, but what I'm doing there is to adhere the other part of the mechanism to the opposite corner. And I keep making sure that everything folds flat by pressuring the paper in place. Now we are going to need an elastic band, and this is the best I could get here. So the smaller one is really not good for this. This one here measures 3 inches and a quarter, and this is just about the right size to do this. I will prefer a slightly larger elastic band, for example 3 inches and a half or 4 inches, and all we have to do is to insert this into the slits created by the mechanism dies, just like that. In the Scrappy Tales tutorial, Sabrina, the owner of Scrappy Tales, says that you can add the mechanism pieces facing down or up, and that doesn't make any difference, but I wanted to add them facing up because I don't know, I feel the elastic band won't fall and that gives me some peace of mind. So anyways, when I was folding the paper and stretching that elastic band, I immediately noticed that I made something wrong. Can you see how the paper bends and is not totally straight? That's because it's 240 grams, and for this it's better to use 300 grams cardstock. And I know that, but the only excuse I have is that I really love that yellow cardstock color for an Easter project and I completely forgot about it. The good thing is that there is no other way I could show you this and how important is the cardstock quality you use. It doesn't mean that the yellow cardstock I use is a bad quality cardstock. It means it's not the right for the card base. You need to make a card base that is more sturdy. Like this one here that I made before. It was the very first I made just to try the mechanism. You can see how beautiful that folds flat and goes back in shape in one go. And that's because I use 300 grams white cardstock. And I know those elastic bands are hideous, but I could not get anything better. The good thing, again, is that you can spot the color and you can see exactly where they go. Oh dear Lord. Another key point to assemble this is that if you adhere one of the mechanism flaps here in that corner, for example, you need to push the cardstock towards that side to fold the card flat and to put it inside the envelope. And a great thing about papercraft is that you can always fix things. So to make this work a little bit better, all I did was adding a piece of cardstock here at the back to reinforce that panel. And I also added this little card here that could work like a card holder, or you can just write a message there. If you really want to use 240 grams cardstock to do this, you can then reinforce the panels with an extra piece of cardstock, and that will work a lot better. So you can see here that the back panel of this card is straight. Sadly, the side panels of the card has been curvy or bended already, so they are going to tend to go in that way. So it's good for the sample and to learn, and to bear in mind that we need thick cardstock to do this. So for this card sample here, I definitely want to reinforce the panels. And why doing this instead using 300 grams cardstock? Simple. Almost all my color cardstock is 240 grams, except from the Spellbinders, but I don't have these soft colors on the Spellbinders range. So if you are in the same place that me and you want to use your 240 grams color cardstock to do this, all you have to do is to add a reinforcing piece that is slightly smaller than the panel, and that could be 240 grams cardstock as well, or 340 grams. And you need to make sure that this is glued from side to side and within the scoring lines so that you can fold the paper without any issue. So by any means, those reinforcing pieces should go over a scoring line, because that will stop the movement of the pieces. And I believe that by adding reinforcing panels to the front and the back panel of this project is enough, and that will also make easier to adhere other pieces inside this card base. And I'm doing exactly the same. The only difference is the cardstock color and the decorative pieces that I'm going to use to make this card. I have so many ideas and I wish I have the time to execute them. Many of you know that my son Harris is autistic and he is at home all the time these days. He doesn't want to go to school and he's refusing to wear clothes, and he doesn't allow me to use my Mac. So I cannot edit videos or work when he's awake. I'm doing this while he's sleeping. If he wakes up, I have to stop, and that's me. Oh. So I'm trying to do this as quick as possible. And if you see there, this box or this card base looks like a toolbox. So you can customize this as well and start getting creative to stretch the use of your dies. I wish I have the time to do it. I can see it there, and instead the roof, you can add a handle, and you can also give this a wooden look and feel, and that will be something completely different. But I'm going to stick to the projects today that are house shaped or storefront shaped cards. And I'm keeping this super simple because actually you can die cut windows in the front panel or back panel of your project and add bridges inside with decorative elements to create something three-dimensional. So the sky is the limit. I'm just keeping this very simple and to show you the very basic construction of these projects. Now I'm going to play some music and I'm going to show you how I finish this card. You can also add any die cut or stamped sentiment to these cards to customize them for any occasion. You can use any decorative die that you might have to decorate them. Because I want this card to fold towards the left, I have to glue one of the mechanism pieces to the front left side of the card, as I'm showing here. And then we need to make sure that everything falls flat. And the next we have to do is to adhere the other opposite corner, just like that. Then we have to insert the elastic band into those slits created by the die in the mechanism pieces. And this is done. You can see here, because the elastic band is too tight, how demanding is that for the paper, but it's working perfectly. All you have to do is to reinforce the paper or use 300 gram cardstock and you will be okay. You will be able to make the most adorable 5 by 7 inches pop-up cards with a cool surprise element for the recipient. Easy to mail, easy to make, and you will like to see this pop up over and over. Just so much fun. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel or to visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration. The supply list is in the video description. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!